Hello and welcome to our Crystalline Matrix preview video. I'm used to saying preview calls, and then I had to think that wait, sometimes these days some are actually live streams, some are different types of video calls and audio calls. So my brain kind of pauses for a second or a split second to figure out, okay, what is this, or how many lines are we using, because some of the calls or videos are where people are joining via live stream and then webcast and then audio numbers from multiple sources. So we play with technology and we have fun. And it's fun because when we look at ourselves, we are also a technological marvel. We are also made up of all kinds of information and math and science, and technology are more like a divine technology, spiritual technology, higher dimensional technology, whatever you want to call it. We are looking at more about holograms and holographic technology, and how scientists are talking about the universe being holographic in nature, that also matches with a lot of ancient spiritual teachings. So we are going through a world or a timeline where a lot of this information is resurfacing that we have forgotten about, and we're looking to see or analyze what makes the most sense and what works for us. So it's a journey, and it's a continuous journey for all of us to be here now and watch things unfold. And at the moment, we are in the middle of probably one of the biggest shifts that of known history, where pretty much everything is changing. Our consciousness, our governments, our interactions, how we do things, the internet, the worldwide transactions, people opening up more, spiritual connections, rising above a lot of old programming, reprogramming your neural network, doing all kinds of advancements in so many different fields. And we're noticing that as we are moving forward, there are also a lot of, let's say, groups or organizations that are causing some interference, and they want to hold on to some of those old patterns that are based on, maybe I can refer to the old Wall Street type of energy, that just money, domination, power. And we've seen that form for so many thousands of years. And history shows us that whenever human consciousness is at a point of where we are about to take a major leap, then all kinds of things happen, and war breaks down, and we go back to some of the old patterns and programming, and we have to redo everything again. So our vision is that we don't want to allow that in this reality anymore, or in our universe anymore. Those things happened in the past. Let's rise above them and let's move forward. So for that, each of our individual energy fields need to be really strong. So when we hold a strong alignment and strong information and codes, and become a strong power source for ourselves and others and Earth, so we become almost like anchor points on Earth, then it is easier for us to shift the world with a lot more of these anchor points. So for that reason, when I begin to explore different classes, programs, and spiritual concepts, and looking at what to teach, or what information wants to come through me, around that time, crystalline matrix, or working with crystals in the body, on Earth, in the oceans, those information started to show up. So initially, I was shown how to run the crystalline matrix processes, and the crystalline matrix started to show up for me. And I was initially, running these processes at around 2011. That's when I started, but at that time it was more about the oceans and the some parks and different cities like the ground and maybe plants, just testing things out. And then I started to add more and more areas. And then around the summer of 2012, the information started to come that let's do this for people, for all of us, for humanity, so that we can begin to transform our crystalline matrix and information that we hold inside our crystals so that we can move forward faster. Now, you can think about your crystalline matrix as a really fancy chandelier, because those kind of look like a nice crystalline energy, especially the really nice ones. So inside our cells, we have a primary crystal, and inside our chakras, inside our meridians, on our hands, head, knees, shoulders, all those joints, and pretty much all of our system, we have major crystal points. They're also inside our different organs and organ systems, and around those major crystal points, using a sacred geometry ratio and a spiral, more and more crystals form, and the entire crystalline structure that we have, I'm calling that crystalline matrix. So if you remove, let's say, your bones and muscles and tissues and organs and everything, and only leave the crystals inside you, it's almost like in a biology class when they show our skeletal structure, right? So similar to that, if you take out everything and only have the crystals in front of you, I will call that your crystalline matrix. Now, the way skeleton is the foundation for this reality, it holds us, it supports us. Because of that, we can walk around and move and pick things up and do things. Similar to that, for a higher level of existence and for a higher plane of existence, we have the crystalline matrix. That's going to become the primary source of information, because not every single reality is about bones and muscles, but when we look at more about energy and information, crystals become and they play a much stronger role. And crystals are everywhere. They are in earth, they are in the waters. If you have seen the frozen water molecules, you would see them taking like a crystalline structure, and you see different patterns in them. And there have been like testing done to show those. But we have crystals in us, and we interact with our environment and our surroundings, and crystals are changing data and information all the time. And inside crystals also, we hold our DNA structures, and there are books about it that you can read at your leisure if you want. But one thing the crystal does well, among many other things, is crystals also store a lot of data, and they are like USB devices for you. So in your crystals, you have a lot of data or connections from your soul's journey. So think about your computer that you get from, let's say, a store, and they preload all kinds of programs on your computer, right? Operating system, different programs, different applications, and your computer comes with all of that. Your phone comes with a lot of that information. Similar to that, your crystals, the crystalline matrix, comes in with a lot of information from your timeline, your soul journey, a lot of programming about your DNA and everything. So one of the things we do in the two-part crystalline matrix class is to really look at what information we are still holding in our crystals that we can let go of or transform or dissolve and flush out now. Because understand, this is a data storage device, or it's one of the functionalities of the crystalline matrix. So there's massive amount of data, and you can't just go into a computer and delete the operating system, right? There are processes about what's allowed, what's not allowed, how much you can do. Because if you delete some system files, then when you start your computer, it's going to say, well, cannot start, or programming error or something. When I played with, manually with a lot of that information and technology, sometimes I've done that to see, if what would happen if I delete some of those hidden files to test them, and then I would see what type of errors would show up, because my background's computers, and I studied computer science, did all kinds of fun things with computers. So that's why I'm giving you a computer analogy, so you understand. So if you think about, in your crystals, you have all these a list of information or a structured data. Then there's a particular structure that you can use to shift them in a more harmonious way. Otherwise, it's going to be like that game where you build that skyscraper, and from the bottom you pull out one piece and then everything collapses. So we don't do that, and it's not allowed either in our crystalline structure. So there are fail-safe mechanisms, so you can only shift what you're ready to shift. So that's a good thing. So that kind of tells us how maybe some certain levels of consciousness from higher plane want to make sure that we do things in a way that's beneficial for us, and we understand what we are doing. So we will play with a lot of these energies and information stored in our crystals that are about, let's say, different types of trauma, abuse, programming about things that are not beneficial, or limitations or lack. And some of that come from you and your personal experience, and some get passed down from your ancestors, some of those memories and data, just like as I gave you an example of a computer software. If an operating system has some bugs and it hasn't been resolved yet, then you're still getting the buggy version that needs to be fixed at some point when a new patch comes out. So these are like, in technology terms, like patches we are doing, where we're looking at your crystalline technology. We're looking at what type of non-beneficial or limiting information that you're holding on to, or stress or trauma, or programming that are causing you disharmony, or keeping you stuck, or keep creating blocks, different types of blocks. So what are those? Where are those? How much can we transform now, and how much of enhanced programming can we do to attract a stronger flow of love, joy, harmony, abundance, collaboration, alignment, and making our crystalline matrix stronger. So it's a process. It's a spiritual process with a lot of technology and science. So as we play with these energies, your crystals get really strong. And strong meaning there are certain things that we do during the crystalline matrix process to repair some of the crystals, or let's say you have seen like cracked or chipped glasses or crystals maybe. So to heal them, to seal them with information and different types of processes that come from a different plane, where most of the crystalline process is done. So we play with all those information. We do all these shifting so that our computer becomes a more advanced computer. So if you had 20 gigabyte limit on your previous system, now you have a terabyte on your new system. If you had a terabyte, now you may have 7 terabyte on your new system. So the crystalline matrix gets really strong, and it can process a lot more cosmic information, and it can process a stronger flow of cosmic light matrix and energy matrix from let's say the universe, the environment, different stars and planets that we play with or explore. So for that reason, it's really important and powerful to run these upgrades for us, and especially in today's world where we notice that majority of humanity needs a much bigger support from all of us, so that we can move forward and rise above a lot of the global disharmony that's showing up. For that, our crystalline matrix need to be holding a much stronger vibration and much higher vibrational information. So for that reason, when we go through the crystalline matrix and you get the before and after measurements, you notice that there's a huge shift after the class. So each time that happens to all of us, and as more and more of us around the planet, go through crystalline matrix processes multiple times, we are able to bring in, anchor, and hold much stronger vibration of cosmic energies, not just for us, but for the entire planet, because together, we are evolving. So in this particular crystalline matrix, one of the things we will do is we will play a lot with the healing star Maya. So we will most likely anchor in Maya, and from there we will access the plane where crystalline matrix, the transformation, activation, and reconfiguration process is done, and where your crystalline chambers are. So those of you who are brand new, just in a very, I'll talk a little bit more about this during the class, but to give you a really broad overview and a brief overview, the crystalline process, the crystalline matrix process are done in crystalline chambers, and the chambers are not on this plane of existence, they are on a higher plane of existence. Now, what is the difference between when I say a plane and a dimension? Sometimes people ask that. Dimensions are like, think about floors on a building. That's how I'm explaining this, so it's easier for you to understand. So if you have a building with 11 floors, you can look at each floor as a dimension. When I'm talking about a plane, it's something different. So think about there's a helicopter across the street and looking at the building, and the helicopter is not on any floor. It can see or look at every single floor, all 11 floors. So that would be a different plane from where you can actually monitor a lot of different dimensions and realities and information. So your crystalline matrix chambers are on a different plane of existence, and that's where these enhancements get done. And there is pretty much like a laboratory there set up where we go through these changes. And for each one of us, we have a special crystalline chamber, more like all of our special equipments and our locations. So every time we go into the chamber, we go to the same chamber and same spot. Now, for each one of us, that's specific to us. So all of our profile and data and everything else is there. Okay, so that's that's a little bit about the technology of it. And when it's a 7-day, it's a week-long process. We start on one Saturday and we end on the following Saturday, but the process actually continues for a little longer. And during these week, each day a different system or different steps get activated or initiated for you, for your system to sometimes release, sometimes shift information, sometimes repair crystals, sometimes bring in new activations or higher vibrational crystalline matrix energy to help shift your reality. Now, in this particular one, Maya showed up, the healing star Maya, to work with us with our crystalline matrix for the first time. And that's really great because we're noticing a lot of global shift happening on the planet, a lot of events happening recently, and a lot of people are rising above or are rising up about going above and beyond all these global issues and disharmony and fighting and violence and all these energies. So the collective consciousness, the earth and humanity, need a lot of these healing energies. So we will play a lot with crystalline healing for all of us and the planet. And one of the other beneficial thing is when we run through the crystalline matrix processes, I also add Earth's crystalline grid, and then Earth's crystalline grid also goes through the crystalline matrix enhancement process. So each time, that's why we are able to hold a lot more energy and high vibrational energy, and that's why your crystalline matrix energy level keeps going up, and you notice that in the before and after measurements. The other really fun thing for this time is the idea about crystalline projection. This showed up recently. In the past, I think there was once or twice I talked about, aligning your crystals on, really looking at sending out vibration from your crystals. In the new crystalline chambers that we opened up in December, these new chambers, when I look at the information, and those of you who are more visual, you notice a lot of that too. They're very, very high tech. It's almost like a very futuristic world, and there are all kinds of technology gadgets that are like spinning around you and scanning you and repairing the crystals and looking at extracting non-beneficial data and bringing in a stronger flow of cosmic energies that are beneficial, helping with the soul journey, helping neutralize different parts of the soul journey that's causing disharmony. And in the very last one, or with the new chambers, one of the things we did was we looked at, I'm going to have to look up the terminology that I use, but we looked at events that were that showed up as almost like locks in our system, where they prevent us from moving forward in certain ways because there were some serious issues that were not resolved. So when we shifted those energies and unlocked them and healed and resolved them, so many of the participants who were there noticed huge shifts during the process. So that's a huge one. That's a great one to play with. That was brand new. Most likely we will look at the process again as long as that shows up in the crystal matrix process. Each time something new shows up. So I also want to pay attention to that. And the other thing is the crystalline projection. So we will receive some enhancements, and then you can almost like, think about a button or a switch, and you can use that to turn on your entire crystalline matrix. So it's almost like, flipping on a switch and turning on a chandelier, or all the light bulbs. So when you turn on your crystalline matrix and begin to focus on something specific, let's say healing or love or abundance, the first thing is it is for your inner world first before outer world. So I need to find a better job to pay bills. Before that, when you work with the crystalline projection, what comes is, let's align you more with a stronger flow of cosmic abundance. So we will look at shifting our inner world first, and that will create a ripple effect from the crystalline matrix. So we will send out a projection gradually out into the external world. But it is for our inner world first, for ourselves first, for our thoughts, feelings, emotions, beliefs, our past, and our timeline first. And then, as we shift those energy information, we can bring in an anchor and install, new information that we can actually maintain. Because otherwise, if you cannot maintain certain energy, then the moment you're not focusing on it, it may disappear, or you notice some other things show up that would neutralize some of the benefits, or put you down a little bit more. Like, it's similar to, you're getting a lot of money for something or for a project, but you cannot hold on to that much energy of money, and suddenly your car needs to be repaired, something in the home needs to be repaired, the washer, the dryer needs to be repaired, and money goes out in some other ways. Okay, so that's why we want to shift our inner world first, so the entire crystalline projection comes inward first. So you turn on your entire crystalline matrix, and you focus on a particular thought or a particular idea to shift your inner reality, so that you can hold the energy and information of what you desire. And as you hold that energy, and your cells, your atoms, and the DNA strands gradually absorb that information, and you become one with the information and align with the information, then the ripple that goes out from you to the entire world, it's going to be a lot more powerful for manifestation. Okay, so that also takes us, or helps to take us away from a lot of the global stuff and disharmony and judgment, because we are looking at preparing our inner universe first to hold the energy of what we're looking for, so that we can bring that energy information down here on earth, because they all exist simultaneously in the universe. All options exist in the holographic universe. So now for that reason, it's important that we shift our inner universe first, and then that will trigger other events, and the external universe will be changed. Now, when more of us come together and go through these processes, then we create a stronger ripple on the planet, and where that really helps to shift the global consciousness faster. Now, we are noticing that a lot of students all over the world are focusing on a desired universe, where they want to focus on safety, security, education, and other things that will be beneficial down the line. Like doing things that are actually beneficial for us and the planet. And so when we are going through that global shift, when we can hold a much stronger vibration of energy and information in our crystals together, then we can empower a lot of those shifts faster. Yeah. So we don't necessarily have to be the people to do all the changes, but we can also provide the technological support, the energetic support, the vibrational support for those who are actually doing some of the work, right? So that's why, for that reason, it's really empowering and beneficial. And it's very important too that we continue to move forward and strengthen our field and play with these energies, so that we can notice a new information coming in and anchoring faster, and we can continue to focus on things that would be actually that is actually what we desire. Okay. So, I want to talk about some of these things. And if you have any specific question, I will open up the line. Then you can ask. You can use the control panel to raise your hand, or you can type something in the chat window. I know I've answered a lot of questions, and I usually answer a lot of questions after each crystal matrix process. So you may already know a lot of the answers, but if you have any question that you want to ask, feel free to do that. And our next Crystal Matrix class begins on March 31st. The last day to register is March 30th, around midday. I will close the registration, and then I look at preparing all the crystalline chambers for all the participants, setting up new ones for all the new participants, and then we will go through some of the processes. And actually, that night, the night before the actual class is when I start some of the processes for the Crystalline Matrix program. Okay, so it's a two-part program, and it happens on 2 Saturdays. And your family members, you can add up to 5 family members with you. And the other thing is, for those of you who are brand new, either you're watching live or will be listening to it later, for the first time for this March, there's a very special rate for first-time registration. So you can get a $50 discount coupon, and it was sent via the email that you have received today. So do take a look. And again, the last day to register is Friday. So make sure you register early. Don't wait for the last minute. And once the registration is closed and I begin to upgrade and enhance and set up all the chambers, then I will not be adding any more new ones. Okay, awesome. So I don't think there are any questions at the moment. So that's great. I think I've answered any questions that you may have. If you have additional questions, then and if you're going to view, after watching the video, those of you who will be watching it later, just send an email to support@lifeharmonized.com, and then we will go back to you. Question about your daughters and their parents live about a mile away. Can they be included? So for each household, there's a registration. So you can register multiple households. Many of the participants have family, kids, grandkids, and their families in different parts of the world. Some add them. So you can certainly choose to have multiple registrations if you like. Your registration covers yourself and up to 5 family members. You can add 5 family members in your household. Okay. But if you have a specific, something specific to ask, feel free to send it to support@lifeharmonized.com. All right. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. So thanks for joining. And let's just do a quick journey and meditation first. There was another question. Do you do this every few months? We do this 3 times a year, usually around March, April once, one in September, one in December. That's how it has shown up in the past few years. I just wait for the signal to come in about the next crystal matrix process, whenever and however that shows up. Based on what shows up, then I offer that. Okay. All right. So let's do a quick journey and integration to just play with bringing in high vibrational energies and shifting shifting our environment, maybe healing the planet a little bit. Let's see what shows up. And it looks like some planetary grid information is showing up. So great, that's great. So let's play there. Focus on your heart. Gently close your eyes and begin to breathe in and out. Let's bring up spiraling earth energy from the center of earth and allow those energies to come up through your lower chakras and your feet for grounding. And let's bring down spiraling energies from the sun through your higher chakras and your crown. Allow these energies to spiral through you up and down, creating a vortex between the earth and the sun. I will now bring some of the spiritual rays of the sun, like the 8th and 9th and 10th rays of the sun that are more spiritual. And let's bring these energies and rays through your physical, emotional, and mental fields. So think about these rays coming down and spiraling through you and the space around you, 3 to 5 feet area around you. Let's do some space clearing for your personal field with the spiritual rays of the sun. In your mind, you can think about or picture a gentle vortex forming, a vortex of these lights and energies, and the vortex is spiraling through you. A vortex would be if you take a glass of water and a spoon and begin to stir the water with the spoon, you will create a vortex. A tornado creates a vortex, but for creation purpose, we generally look at a clockwise spiraling vortex. And a lot of times to decompose something, to flush out, to release, sometimes we would look at counterclockwise. It depends on how they show up also and from which direction. You just think about a solar vortex, and however it needs to run, it will run that way. The sun, the consciousness of the sun knows the information, and your higher consciousness knows the information too. Allow the energies and the rays to get stronger. They're spiraling through every cell of your body, and they're spiraling through your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs. Notice that gradually dirty water begins to come out of you and your field. Dirty water represents all the non-beneficial information. Your brain understands the visual because it knows that everyone wants clean water. Allow the dirty water to go into a universal recycling bin where the energy and information gets transformed and goes back to source. And from the universe, from the cosmic consciousness, you continue to receive higher vibrational energies and information. Let us now begin this, bring in the spiritual energies of the sun through the planetary grid and through the entire earth. Just notice high vibrational spiritual rays of the sun coming in and spiraling through Earth's crystalline grid and then through the entire planet. Notice a lot of dirty water coming out of Earth and different parts of Earth and from our collective consciousness going into a universal recycling bin where that energy and information gets recycled, goes back to source, and we continue to receive a stronger flow of cosmic energies on Earth. Let's allow these energies to get stronger. Let's harmonize all the flows. Let's breathe in and out deeply and gently a few more times. Come back to your present moment. Rub your hands together and gently open your eyes. Thank you for joining. There's another question also, if there's going to be a recording, if you cannot join live. Yes, there will be a recording, and for all of my classes and programs, a recording is posted as soon as they are ready. And for your family members, actually, even, they don't even have to listen to the program consciously, because once they are added to the crystalline chamber, whether they listen or not, it doesn't really matter. The processes will be done for them. Okay. All right, awesome. Thank you very much for joining. And remember, class begins on the 31st, next Saturday, and the following Saturday, April 7th. So let's play with these energies. If you're still waiting to register, please make sure that you do that by Friday morning. And then once the registration is closed, then it's closed. March Crystal Matrix is gone forever. Okay, so play, create, have fun, and I really like the process of the crystalline projection also, because this month or for the next month in April, we are also going to play with the power star, the neb, where it's a very powerful star for focus and ideas and creation. So you can also play with that energy, because the cosmic creation is actually on April 1st, the day after crystalline matrix. Most likely we will do the projection on the second, on part 2 of crystalline matrix, because then we have done the enhancements too. But even before that, if it shows up, I will talk a little bit about that in part 1 too. I will see how the information comes from the chambers. But on April 1st, we have the power star, the neb. So if you're playing with the neb, then you can also bring in that singular focus energy of the neb into your crystalline energy and really hold one particular idea or thought. You're going to have a million things pop up. That's natural, but continue to focus on that one thought, and you can intensify that thought and magnify and amplify what you desire. So there are some exercises I posted on the Cosmic Creation member page, and those of you who are part of M3 on the M3 Magic Engineer page, because if you're a Magic Engineer, then you automatically get Cosmic Creation. So, play with all these energies together, and let's see how much we can shift our reality and how fast we can do that, so that we look back and we notice that how much we have changed and how much fun we had together changing all these energies. Okay. Then another question from Angela. If is there a big detox after the activation? So it really depends. Some of the participants do go through a lot of detox. Now, usually, because the crystalline matrix process happens over a week, and small amounts of data gets transferred instead of everything coming down to you at once. That generally makes the process very gentle, on yourself too. So usually, or in almost all cases, a majority, like 99% of the case, of the times, I would say, people noticed a lot during the classes and the program, but the information and energy came, over a period of week, gently. So it was milder than some of the other programs where we have gone into a lot of very deep inner shit very fast, in a matter of hour, 2 hours. Okay, so awesome. So thanks for joining, and thanks for all of your questions. I will post the replay on the Crystalline Matrix page too, so you can take a look at it again, and let's have fun. Bye-bye.